Public relations has always been a field shaped by changing culture, shifting technology, and the delicate art of influence. In recent years, the ground beneath it has moved faster than many seasoned professionals expected. Search behavior is evolving, traditional media continues to contract, and public attention is fractured across countless platforms. That mix has forced communication leaders to rethink how visibility and credibility are built in the modern information cycle. Few voices capture this moment with more clarity than Cara Milan Harbor, a veteran public relations strategist and executive communications advisor whose career spans more than 25 years. Her background includes guiding narrative development for global technology brands and advising executives on how to position themselves with purpose and precision. Her experience gives her a vantage point into how public relations is changing and what it now demands from leaders who want to be seen and heard. Cara believes public relations today has become a study in adaptation. She points to lessons from her own journey, which has included creating a new action plan at various points in her career and building a new life one habit at a time as she evolved from tech agency work to executive advisory roles and leading her own company, AMP Marketing and PR. These themes sit at the center of many conversations now happening across her industry. When Cara began her career in the Bay Area, the public relations world moved at a different pace. Campaigns were built around long-range planning and media cycles that unfolded in predictable waves. Companies had more control over how their messages reached the public because the number of major outlets was smaller. That structure is no longer the norm. According to Cara, the most important change is the new way audiences search for information. Public perception now hinges not only on traditional news coverage but also on how individuals and brands appear in online environments shaped by artificial intelligence. As she notes in her professional work, reputation is no longer something that lives only on news pages. It is alive in search engines, answer engines, and conversational platforms that filter information through algorithmic context. Clients who come to Cara often still carry assumptions from earlier media eras. Many believe reputation management begins when something goes wrong. Cara sees it differently. She argues that the first impression a future partner or employer encounters will most likely be a search result, not a personal introduction. That shift has made public relations a proactive discipline rather than a reactive one. To understand why Cara's perspective carries such weight, it helps to look at her track record. She has guided communications efforts for global names that include Adobe, Cisco, HP, and LinkedIn, and has helped executives shape narratives that speak to investors, policymakers, and customers. Her approach centers on the belief that clarity, consistency, and credibility are the true foundation of a strong public image. This mindset grew from her early years in Silicon Valley, where she saw how quickly emerging technologies could be misunderstood without clear messaging. She also saw what happened when leaders chose to communicate with purpose rather than volume. That shaped her guiding philosophy that the strongest public relations strategies are built on alignment rather than spectacle. Her work in executive advisory roles has followed that same path. She often helps leaders develop thought leadership platforms that are grounded in expertise and supported by visible engagement. In those conversations, she emphasizes that audiences respond to messaging that is thoughtful rather than loud. Cara's insights resonate partly because she recently underwent a transformation of her own. Her choice to reintroduce herself professionally as Cara Milan became more than a name change. It was a complete reframing of her voice, purpose, and professional direction. She often describes the experience as both strategic and personal. Her rebrand offered a rare opportunity to step into the same vulnerability her clients face. She had to redefine her message, decide what she wanted her name to signal in the market, and make countless decisions that shaped how her public identity would appear in search environments. Every step of that process demanded careful consideration because rebranding requires far more than new visuals. The experience deepened her understanding of how individuals endure the pressure of repositioning themselves publicly. It also gave her a renewed appreciation for the emotional weight that sits beneath public relations decisions. Even when the process is strategic, there is often an internal negotiation taking place. She now brings that empathy into her advisory work with leaders who are going through major life or career changes. Many of those transitions begin with what she calls the first crucial step in creating a new action plan. Cara Milan Harbor has spent her career observing how leaders respond to shifts in public expectation. One trend she finds persistent is the belief that personal branding is optional. She argues that today it is a requirement. Even executives who prefer to stay behind the scenes shape perception whether they choose to or not. Search engines collect data from every professional trace they leave online, and that becomes the story others will read. Another misunderstanding involves the timing of visibility. Harbor encourages individuals to establish their online presence before they need it. Waiting until a crisis or opportunity emerges can place unnecessary pressure on both the leader and the messaging. An established narrative gives people context and makes future communication clearer and more trustworthy. The third misconception is that public relations should focus only on large moments. In reality, audiences often respond more strongly to consistent smaller signals. These signals might include a short commentary, a published insight, or engagement with a community topic. Cara often advises clients to view communication as a pattern rather than a single act. Each moment shapes how audiences interpret the larger story. The rise of generative engine optimization, or GEO, is one of the areas where Cara has become a respected authority. GEO refers to the way information is now processed by artificial intelligence-driven platforms that answer questions with synthesized responses. The evolution has changed the rules of visibility. It is no longer enough for leaders to appear on page 1 of a traditional search engine. They must now understand how their work is represented within answer-based systems that often pull from multiple sources at once. This environment places new pressure on clarity. When answer engines summarize a person's public information, they rely heavily on patterns in available content. If those patterns are weak, scattered, or inconsistent, the summary can become inaccurate. She notes that many leaders have not yet recognized how much influence they can have by strengthening their digital footprint early. In her advisory work, she helps clients create content that reflects not only their expertise but also the values and themes they want associated with their name. She views it as a form of long-range planning that positions individuals for relevance as artificial intelligence platforms continue to shape public understanding. Cara sees public relations becoming even more intertwined with technology. She anticipates that answer engines will grow increasingly influential in determining what people believe to be true about a person or brand. That shift will place even greater emphasis on well-crafted digital identities and searchable content. She also predicts that leaders will need to take a more active role in their public presence. Audiences tend to trust individuals more than institutions, and that dynamic has pushed executives into greater visibility. As a result, communications advisors like Cara Milan Harbor are spending more time coaching leaders on how to articulate their point of view in a way that feels human and grounded. At the same time, she believes traditional storytelling will remain essential. Even in a world shaped by artificial intelligence, the public still responds to stories that reveal purpose, struggle, growth, or resilience. Public relations therefore becomes a blend of strategy and humanity, where technology supports but does not replace the core work of meaningful communication. The work of public relations often unfolds quietly behind the scenes, but its influence on public understanding has never been more visible. The field now requires curiosity, patience, and a willingness to adapt as digital environments continue to change. Voices like Cara Milan Harbor offer rare perspective in this moment because they draw from decades of experience while remaining deeply connected to emerging trends. As leaders across industries rethink how they want to be seen, Cara's guidance serves as a reminder that the strongest public presence is built with intention and maintained with consistency. In an era defined by rapid change, her approach suggests that clarity and credibility remain the most enduring tools any leader can carry.